know you guys ready?
Yeah.
Joe, you good to go? All right. First of all, I'd like to thank everyone for being here today at Saluki Basketball Media Day. Just kind of go over the format. We're going to start out. I'm going to introduce Saluki women's basketball coach Cindy Stein. Coach is going to talk a little bit about this year's team, and then we're going to open it up for questions from the media. And following Coach Stein, we're going to have Coach Hinson up here, and it'll be the same format. And then after that, we'll open it up for interviews with the women's and men's basketball players. So this time, I would like to welcome Head Coach Cindy Stein.
Good afternoon. How's everybody doing? Good. Are we ready for some football?
Stand by.
Oh, well, this is basketball. I'm sorry. You guys didn't tell me.
Someone that's plugged in is overruling the...
We are so excited about the upcoming season. It seemed like it's come so fast. I felt like I was just being hired, and we were trying to get kicking things going and off to a great start. I'll tell you, this is the focus has been keeping it simple. Okay, we've got a young team in its effort to be successful in many ways. So we've got to keep it simple. We're very concentrated on our defense right now. Probably a little bit more than our offense. Hopefully we'll have a few plays in before our first exhibition on the 25th. But we're really concentrating on defense and really keeping it simple. You know, one play at a time, catching the ball with two hands, taking care of the ball. We do want to push the ball up the floor, but we want to do that under control. And then we want to be all over people defensively, but of course doing that without fouling. Try to keep people off the free throw line. So it's one of those things where we're, from an offensive end, we're attacking. We want to get to the free throw line a lot. Defensively, we're attacking, but we want to keep people off the free throw line and getting the kids to understand what that takes. Right now, I'm very pleased with probably 7 kids. I think 7 kids right now would be our rotation if we were to start today. And I think Rashonda, we call her Rondo, so Rashonda Napier would probably start at point guard for us, looking very good there, taking care of the ball, very good leader. We'll move Cartasia Macklin to the off guard, which is, I think, more of her natural position. Jordan Courier's playing extremely well, and she's someone that we will look to play on the wing and inside for us. And then inside, I think we've got some opportunities. Asia Washington's looking very good. Diana Pierre's looking good. Alexis Patterson's looking good. So we've got some room there. The biggest surprise has been Mercedes Griffin, who I think could be an impact player because she can make so much happen defensively. She's a very explosive athlete. She is an elite level athlete. Now our goal is to make her an elite level basketball player. But those 7 really have started to embrace what we're trying to do. They're doing extremely well, and we're just trying to get the rest of them with the confidence they need, doing all the little things right. And that's really been our focus. Everyone wants to know where I would predict our team. I have no idea. I'd like to say that we're going to be at the top. That's always what you want. That's going to be our goal. We're going right after everybody. I mean, we open up these exhibitions. Honestly, and I've said this before, I don't care about the score on the exhibitions. Do I want to win? Well, absolutely. You know, we're competitors. We want to win. But I do want to work with different groups. I want to get different rotations in. I want to get different people at the point guard spot so that we have some consistency there, because that's probably our most inconsistent area. And then we worry about Wright State, who's our opening game. And then obviously, you know, it's all out for that game. But our exhibition will be more of what we need to do and focus on us more than what the other team does. And we may play around, and we're going to try to play everybody. But that's not going to happen every game. So you want to do it early and see what people have, and then look at going to that November 8th game against Wright State and get a solid core that we can get a good rotation with and go after people. But that's kind of our plan. I got a great staff. There have been great teachers, and really that's all we've been concentrating on. All we're doing is teaching every day in practice and getting our system down. And we're not as far along as we would have liked. Probably not as far along as some other teams in the conference that have returning staffs, but that's okay. We'll get them there. So at this time, I'd like to open it up. Yes.
you say that right now you're not putting in a lot of plays. Now, when you get things together during the season, will you run a lot of set plays or motion or what?
Well, we do run a motion offense, but we will run quite a few sets. So we like to come down and go right into a secondary break, into a motion offense when we can just get things rolling. Someone stops us at doing that, we will run a couple quick hitters that always go into our motion.
Okay.
So.
Talk about the 7 core players you have right now. Anyone else you're going to add to that? Anyone else, any of the freshmen you brought in, or anyone else looking like they're going to start to make that progress?
I think that everybody, at different times throughout our practices have good moments. Our freshmen are a little bit behind right now than where I'd want them to be. We've got a post player in Kim Nebo that's really explosive off the floor. Now I can't get her to run a play right, but she can rebound like the Dickens, and she can catch the ball and score. Now we just got to get her to know where she's supposed to be. But she can make a lot of things happen, but that goes both ways. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad, and then the rest of them they're kind of in that learning stage as well, but I think they'll be there. From the veteran standpoint, a lot of it's, kids that don't play with a lot of confidence, and that's something we've got to continue to build. Taking over a team that has only won a few games throughout the year, the biggest thing is just working on their confidence and getting them to understand the work ethic will get you to that level where you're feeling confident in what you do.
Coach, until you guys get to games, how are you measuring progress right now with the team?
We take stats every practice. We try to monitor that. We give out Super Dog shirts, so everything's a competition. So we're monitoring their work ethic. We monitor toughness. Diving for loose balls, taking charges. So everything that we're doing in practice, the deflections, everything, every single day statistically is given to them. They see it every day so that they know where they stand. And like I said, we have the Super Dog shirt that they wear. We have the overall leader, whoever's leading us in all the points, and we've got a daily one, somebody that won the day before, and they like to wear those shirts. And that's, just little things like that, just providing some kind of competition. And I think monitoring from that standpoint is seeing how much better they're getting.
What do you like about your schedule this year?
I don't like anything about our schedule, but we'll play it. With that being said, we want to win all our games. Is that feasible? At this point, we're just trying to get ready for Wright State. Is there anybody that we look forward to? I mean, we always look forward to the Valley. I'm not sure how much we're going to get tested because we're so concentrated on our own team. But there's nobody that stands out that we want any more than anybody else right now. The main thing is not to beat ourselves.
Can you talk about the overall athleticism of the group?
Yeah, I think we've got some great athletes. We've got kids that can run hard and run fast and jump high, and now we got to make them basketball players. And that's the key, taking care of the ball, making two-handed passes, making two-handed catches, making layups, and being consistent at that, and learning how to play under a high speed, a high energy level, and not make mistakes. And that's kind of what we're getting to, because you can only go as fast as you can as long as you're under control. And that's what we emphasize. And I think you'll see that. I think, I can't even tell you what kind of style they played last year. I just know that that's our style. Anybody else? You guys are easy then. You're easy. Well, I just appreciate you guys being here. I know you guys are waiting for Coach Henson as well. I'm a huge Barry Henson fan. He's terrific. I've watched several of his practices, and I learn something every day I watch him. Every time I listen to him, I hit my knees, feel like I should be giving lots of praise, and he gets me energized every day. So I'm excited to be in the same building with that guy. But thanks for coming. I expect to see every single one of you at our games. Thanks.
Thank you, Coach.
Are you recording? I'm recording.
Okay, so you can do something?
Yeah.
Okay. Where the hell is it?
Step out.
Oh, he's in the back.
He's in the back. There he is. Coach. Cindy said, next up is Coach Henson. We will have an open practice today, so after we're done here, we're going to do some one-on-one interviews with our players, and then you're all invited to come watch practice down in the arena. This will be our one open practice for this season. Coach, why don't you go ahead?
Okay, all right, thanks, Tom. I don't know how to take that last compliment by Cindy, but I really like it. I want to hit my knees too when she practices, but I can't get back up if I do that. So I'm too old, I can't get back up. But I think one of the things you do in college basketball is you have to work, specifically in our situation. With the new rule changes, we're practicing off-site an enormous amount of times, and we're trying to work together with our women's programs. And it always makes it a lot easier when you have a head coach that understands on both sides, whether it be with volleyball or women's basketball. I've had the opportunity to observe her practices. I know there was an article a couple of days ago in the Southern Illinois. I ask the girls all the time when I see them, I said, how's practice going? Great, good, and they're excited. And I can't say that that was the standard answer last year. So I know she's had an impact. I think she is exactly the comparison. Her program is exactly where we were last year. And I see great things coming out of it. And I have the utmost respect for her. And I think anytime you can have a coach that's been at the BCS level to work with your women's program, I think is an advantage. And I'm excited to see what they'll do. Now, before I talk about our team, I want to ask you a question, and I hope you'll put this on the news tonight or in the print. If I were to tell you that Louisville and Duke and Kansas were going to play a home game in SIU Arena, do you think that we would sell out our arena? And I think everybody would say yes. Well, when I say that, we have the #1 football team in the country coming into our stadium on Saturday night. And it would absolutely blow my mind if you come into the stadium and can't find a place to sit. We need to sell it out. Our football team, I just can't tell you how excited I am about them right now, and I hope our community is, but that place ought to be packed and sold out. People ought to come to the gates, and we ought to be able to say, the only seat we have is on the berth. And I hope that's what we're able to do, and I hope we come here. The #1 team in the country is in our facility. I hope we'll treat it like that if we would for basketball. All right, let's talk about this year. I'm pretty much the same every year. I get to the start of the season, I'm extremely excited. Everybody likes their team right now. Everybody thinks everything's going well. We haven't played a game, we're undefeated. We're excited. I go home at night, I sleep, and on November the 2nd, that'll all change. So it's a great time for you to ask me questions because I'm in a bubbly spirit right now, in a good mood. The one thing that's changed for men is we finally got smart. You don't want to put this on the air, and you don't want to put this on print, but we finally got intelligent like the women, and we decided to do our practices like the women have been doing for the last few years. I think it's helped us a tremendous amount. Literally today would be our first practice, but now we're going in today, it's our 12th practice. So with the new rule change and stuff, we don't have anybody injured, we don't have fatigue, we don't have sickness, because we're idiots when it came to practicing in October 15th, because we never took time off, we had everybody hurt, had everybody sick, because we just weren't smart enough to figure out that we try to jam everything in 2 weeks, and we don't have to do that anymore. So I'm excited about that. I like it. There are a lot of coaches out there say they don't like it, which just blows my mind, because my answer with them to me would be just say, hey, well, do what you've been doing. You don't have to start practice this time. You can practice anytime you want up until the first exhibition game. So I do like the new rule by the NCAA. That's one rule the NCAA's gotten right in the past couple of years. I'll open it up to you guys for questions.
Are you where you want to be in year 2 at this point?
Todd, I think anytime you want to coach for perfection, but no, we're nowhere close to where we want to be. But at the same time, I like that there are a few things that we can introduce and our guys pick up a little bit faster because it's kind of been through what we've done. I think our players will tell you today that the transition this year has been a lot smoother and a lot easier. I think the biggest thing that's changed this year, I'm not dealing with the police, I'm not dealing with lawyers, I'm not dealing with academics, I'm actually, in all honesty, guys, we've actually got to coach basketball. And last year, we didn't get to do that. We never got to go. You know, we had a saying in our office last year. I don't know if you've ever been to a construction site. They'll say 25 days without an incident, 25 days without an accident. We had in our office, we just wanted to go 2 days. That was our rule. We wanted to go 2 days without an incident, and that did not happen until the month of February. And we went 3 solid days. That was our record, was 3 days. This year, you know, it's been great. I mean, like I said, we've not had any incidents, knock on wood, to speak of, that would derail our program. So I'm happy about that.
Can you talk about what you expect from Desmar Jackson and what he's shown you early in practice this year?
You know, I expect everything when you supposedly your best player, and on paper everybody's listing him as our best player. You know, I expect your best player always has to be your hardest worker. He has to be a leader by example, whether it's on the floor or off the floor. And Desmar struggled with every one of those last year. Now, with that being said, I think he's improved in every one of those areas. He's certainly done all that we've expected of him. He's still got major challenges that lay in front of him. And we expect that he'll handle those in a mature manner. And we constantly, we coach Desmar like we do anybody else, but I expect great things from him. And when he doesn't meet my expectations, I just have a simple saying. When it becomes more important to me than it is to you, then it's time for us to move on. And we got to that point last year right after the Wichita State game. I'd gotten there. I'd gotten there to point with him, and I think he understood it. And we've had a lot better relationship since the summer and this fall. He's done everything we've expected him to do.
On the court, where do you feel like the new guys have made the most strides?
You know, I think the biggest thing for us, Kelly, is that they're getting along. I mean, I think right now we've got so many new guys. Our biggest challenge right now, we have 2 challenges, is the schedule that we put together and then all the new guys. And, you know, it's a blender right now. I mean, I ought to be representing ninja blenders because we're just throwing them in there right now, literally, and mixing it up and seeing what happens. And for the most part, I'm kind of excited about it.
Can you tell your three-point shooting is going to be a lot better?
It better be. It can't get worse. It's impossible. It absolutely cannot get worse. My wife can shoot better from the 3 than our team did last year, and she is a horrible athlete.
And what could that do for you this year?
Well, I think the one thing it does is that we won't see people zoning us as much. And, you know, it's amazing to me, guys that never played zone against us last year. I mean, we just couldn't score. And, you know, it's always important for your big guys to be able to score, but when you don't have to guard the perimeter, it doesn't matter. And you know, I'm excited about this. We have big guys this year. We actually have a couple of big guys, and our center will not be 6'2" this year unless we get into injuries or sickness. We think we're going to start a center that's over 6'5" tall, and I'm really excited about that. It's hard to run Jeff Early and Josh Swan out there at 6'2" and 6'3" and guard 7-footers. So, you know, we're going to run some size out there this year.
How do you see your rotation playing out?
I have no idea, Kelly. I mean, no idea. I mean, you know, I think it's always been, we play 9 guys. Every once in a while we may play 10, but we're looking for those guys right now. You know, I think right now we're settled in on probably 7. 8, 9, 10 right now. There's a bit of a competition going on in there. But I do think we're pretty solid with 7. We can't get in foul trouble. I know you guys know this, but the rules have changed. It's been dramatic. It's going to be the topic of conversation in the first month of college basketball. They're predicting 60 to 70 fouls called per game to start off. It's going to be a free throw-a-thon. Games are going to last anywhere from 15 to 30 minutes longer. Any block charge now, 99% of all charge calls now are going to be called a block. The NCAA had its lowest scoring in 30 years. And so what they've done is they've sent out a mandate to all of the officials. If you put your hand on them, if you armbar them, if you put 2 hands on them, if you chest them, if you check them, it's an automatic foul. Automatic foul. We are now doing the NBA continuation rule that if you hit a player going up in an upward motion, it's now accounted. Doesn't depend on where that is, but it's an and one. And I think the first month, you guys are going to write more about what's going on in college basketball than you are about the actual teams, because the games for the fans are getting ready to change in a dramatic way. And I have mixed emotions. I talked to Jay Billis about this last week. I think we need more offense. I think we need more entertainment. But at the same time, I think when you take out the charge, especially at our level, where we can neutralize an athlete by being a little bit more intelligent than some other teams, I think that takes away from what this conference has always been about. And I think it's going to be a big challenge for us. I think it's going to be a big challenge for the mid-majors because depth is really going to play out. We had a conference with our officials last week, and they said, do not be shocked when you foul your point guard out in the first half. So the shots have been fired, and I don't think it's going to change. I don't think this is one of these things where they say we're going to clean up post play, and by the time you get to conference play, it's in one ear and out the other. I think those days are over. I think you're getting ready to see much more points being scored. Ironically, it's going to come from the free throw line and not from the game, but I do think we'll adjust, and I think you'll see the scores go up dramatically.
Coach, you've got Western Kentucky, Murray State, Austin P. A lot more regional games this year. Is that part of your plan?
Yeah, it really is. I mean, we wanted to do something. We felt like our fans, when I first got here, we didn't play regional games. We've always played St. Louis, and of course, we love to keep that series going, but we've got Western Kentucky. That's been a part of the series. We started a new series with Austin P, and I don't have a clue who started the series with Murray State. Whoever the head coach was that signed that deal is an absolute idiot. I mean, you're talking about one of the top winning programs over the last 20 years, but we felt like it was important for our fans. And if you look at our schedule, guys, I told somebody this last week, we're not jumping into the wading pool, we're not jumping into a swimming pool, we're not jumping into a pond, we're not jumping into a lake, we're just jumping into the ocean. And we play Mizzou the very first game, and we follow it up with St. Louis, and then we've got to go on the road at Austin P, and I think we're going to get a glimpse or find out really quick where we are with our basketball squad by what we've done with our schedule. And whether or not that's the right thing to do, we'll wait and see how that pans out for us. It's a little bold for me to do this, but I just felt like at the time we needed to find out where we are, and we needed to find out where we need to be for this program.
With all the new personnel, how do you feel like your style of play will change this year?
Well, Kelly, one of the things you do when you take over a program, the guys that you recruit in better fit what you do. So no one can point their finger other than anybody at me. All the new guys are the guys that we felt like that fit our style of play, what we want to do, specifically our hybrid spots, how we want our point guards to play, guys that can shoot from the perimeter, a little bit of size with athleticism. So if you look at what we've done with our squad, I think you'll be able to figure out, you'll see what we've done in the 9 years I was at Missouri State, and what we did at Kansas. You can see how we started recruiting to a system.
How have you seen Jalen and Anthony Bean progress this year?
I think both those young men have made great progress. I think Anthony has really made progress with his perimeter play. More so than anything, I think Anthony's made better progress as far as how he feels the game. His decision processes last year weren't very good. He didn't have a great feel for the game. He's a much smarter player, better field player this year. And Jalen has just got better because Jalen's our utility guy. Jalen's going to play anywhere from point guard to center. And in practice, he's got to know all the positions. He's kind of like a rover in softball. But Jalen's going to know all our positions, and we hope that he can be really special for us defensively, but offensively cause some problems for guys, especially on matchups.
Speaking of point guard, has anybody stepped forward yet a little bit as far as who would start or play a lot this year?
I really like our 2 point guards that we brought in, Marcus Filial and Casey Goodwin. Marcus comes in with a year of experience underneath his belt from the junior college level. I think that helps us tremendously. Marcus is still learning, but Marcus was raised right outside of Lawrence. I knew about Marcus when I was in Lawrence, and a good little point guard out of Topeka. And the thing that's great for us is that Marcus grew up on Kansas basketball, and that's the style that we play. So he's very familiar with what we want to do and what we want to accomplish. And the best part of Marcus is he was a predictor out of high school. He's got 3 years. And Casey's one of those guys, I got tickled. Some of the girls, I see them here, and some of the girls came in to watch Casey play this summer. And they're sitting behind the stands. We're in camp, and Casey's playing. And some of the girls are going like, oh my gosh, oh baby, oh yeah, go Casey, go. And I'm like, ooh, I kind of got excited myself just sitting over there. Not so much about Casey's play, but just how they were presenting it to them. But Casey's one of those guys that he's going to have a lot of excitement. But anybody that sits on the first rows better have great dental insurance, because he may knock your teeth out with an errant pass at the same time. And he's a freshman. He's going through a lot of things, but I think he's got a chance to. I think he's got a chance to be a really special point guard for us.
Coach, aside from those guys, anyone else out of the new guys that you're really excited about seeing just what they can do on the court?
I really like Sean O'Brien. I really like him. I tell you, we knew that when we signed him. We thought he's got a chance to be a special player. I'm really excited about Sean O'Brien. He's that hybrid spot. You guys have heard me talk about it. He's the hybrid that we wanted to get. He's the guy that we recruited. And Sean's another one of those guys that's going to have to play the hybrid and back and forth a little bit like Jalen. Now, he's not going to play the point guard spot, but we have no problem with Sean getting a rebound and bringing it. He's that much skilled. Another guy that I'm excited about is the Verhines boy. I really like Bronson. Now, he's only got 1 year left, but I always like getting guys that come out of programs that have been coached by former Salukis, because those guys get it. And we've got a guy here in our program coached by Randy House, and I tell you what, it's amazing to me when you get a kid from a program that's extremely well coached like they are at Rend Lake, you get a kid that's won a national championship, you really like that. And I tell you, we just tell Bronson what to do, and he's already been told it 100 times by Randy, and it's always good to have kids that have been well coached. But I'm really excited about him as well.
Coach, do you know what your plans are for Smith Peters yet? Are you looking to redshirt him?
You know what? Tyler's one of those guys right now that's, we don't know what our plans are. The great thing the NCAA did a couple of years ago, you don't have to make those decisions until after your exhibition season. We will play. We don't scrimmage games here. Now, we may look at scrimmaging in the future and dropping one exhibition game, depending on how many home games we can get. But right now, since we play both our exhibition games, we'll play all of our guys through the first two, and then we'll make a decision at that time. We've got a couple of candidates out there for red shirts, and we'll just make that decision. But you know, Tyler's biggest issue right now is strength and conditioning, and that step up from him from Harrisburg to Division I has been quite a step for him. And a part of that is just, you know, the guy weighs 135 pounds. I mean, we've got to get some weight on him. Him and Casey together, you know, it's just, I think I could carry them both on my back, seriously. And I'm not that strong.
What concerns do you have for scoring inside? Because a lot of your inside guys don't have a lot of Division I experience necessarily.
Well, obviously our big guys are a concern based on their experience. I mean, Devontae didn't get to play a lot last year because of his issues with his feet. We've had no issues with Devontae's feet to this date. Devontae has made great improvement. Bola will play as much as he can stay on the floor, but Bola's going to set the all-time foul record at SIU. No doubt in my mind. Bola is either going to kill somebody or foul out every game. There's going to, one of those two things are going to happen. But Bola's the only guy that I've really felt like in practice, because I work with the big guys. He's the only guy I've ever felt like that I needed to wear pads during practice when I work, because he's unbelievable. He's going to kill somebody.
He's a great defender, though, is he not?
He's a great defender because he kills people. I mean, I'm just serious. He's got to learn how not to foul, but I think, you know, Bola and Devontae have gotten a lot better. Bronson gives us a little bit of size, and I like that. I really like Sean O'Brien. You know, it gives us 4 guys, and Jalen gives us that 5th hybrid. We've got a rotation. I've always felt like you got to have 5 perimeter players and 4 big guys, and we've got that right now. We can't have foul trouble, suspensions, injuries, sickness. We just can't have that because we're really thin in that position. And as far as our new guy, Ivy, is concerned, he's made great strides, our transfer from Illinois. And for those of you who are going to interview Bola and Ivy today, you may need an interpreter. You'll also need an interpreter for Casey Goodwin, and but that's pretty much it. I think you'll be able to understand all of our other guys. Casey's from Memphis, so just take that for what it's worth.
Can you tell us what you like about Balogun and Gibson, what those 2 guys do?
You know, I think Balogun and Gibson, the thing that I like about them is they can really shoot the basketball. The things that I don't like about Gibson and Balogun is they could not guard my wife. And I refer once again, she is not very athletic. Hunter and Casey, in order for them to get on the floor, I tell them this every day in practice, and they know it, but in order for them to get on the floor, they've got to be able to learn how to guard somebody. And my wife's worn out because they've been guarding her in closeouts, one-on-ones, and they're getting a little bit better. They took a charge on her last week. She's out right now. She's got a hip warner because Hunter took a charge on her, but you know, we're getting better. We're getting better. That was a joke.
Hey, can you clarify a little bit that the charge is not out of the game, but it is going to make you change how you have to guard people?
We don't take charges in practice. That's exactly right, Todd. We don't take charges in practice. We completely changed. We're worrying about more about our second defender. We're more worried about walling up. But we you know, I go back. I worked for Mr. Iba, and Mr. Iba was about taking charges, and, you know, getting those guys, the secondary defenders, and getting over in rotation. And I tell you what, guys, we've changed that. And you're going to see a ton of zone this year. You're going to see more zone than you've ever seen, and you're going to see a European type style basketball. And I'd like to say NBA, but we're not. It's not there yet because they're not going to play the defensive rules that the NBA plays with. But you're going to see a European style of basketball because the NCAA wants more scoring.
Have you been able to get a sense of the team's identity yet?
You know, I like them. I think that's a big identity right now. I like them. We've been enthusiastic. We've had 12 practices. Of our 12 practices, we've had 2 bad ones. So that's not bad. 10 out of 12 have been pretty good. I think we're more skilled than what we have been in the past. That's certainly one of the things that bothered us. We've got true point guards in our program. We've added a little bit of size. You know, Kelly, we're going to, you know, with the new rule changes, I think everybody's trying to figure out what we can and can't do. You know, I talked to Coach Self last week, and he said we're all confused right now. You know, we've got an official that's going to come in and visit with our team next week, specifically over this. I mean, I don't mind I'm really concerned about the rules changes. We're trying right now as a staff to think outside the box, try to figure out what we can and can't do, and you know, we're really curious. And you know, those days of floor burn you, those days, you know, unless you're diving on the floor, those days are over. They don't want that. The NCAA doesn't want defense anymore, and it really bothers me right now. I'm a little concerned about it.
Would that change your philosophy on recruiting a little bit, in that maybe you look for a guy that really plays defense before, and now you're more so offense?
I can't answer. I mean, we're going to have to see what dictates, but yeah. I mean, we're thinking now the little guys that can shoot are back in the game again. We're thinking skill is going to be much more than athleticism. I mean, it's just going to be interesting to see. You know, they've said 2 things. They want more scoring, they want more block shots. Those are the 2 mandates that they've come out with. I mean, they're just telling everybody, we want more scoring and we want more block shots. If you are the secondary defender and you block a shot, the officials are going to high-five each other. They're going to love it. But if you're guarding the ball and you block a shot, they're going to call a foul. Okay, guys, enjoy meeting with our guys today. I think you're going to like them. And feel free to ask those guys any questions. Thank you.